And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, coming at you as we do each and every single week to talk about all things building custom homes on your land. I'm Eric Allard, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every single week by the great, the marvelous, the wonderful Dawn Dantzler, Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience for Tilson Homes. Good afternoon, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It's doing great. Everything's wonderful. All is well. All is good. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful time. We have had first fall, which was, of course, was fake fall, and now it's back in the 90s. So it's animals are confused. The grass doesn't know what to do. Do I die? Do I try to survive? Do I go dormant? Do I starve from thirst? These are all the things that are happening now.
Decisions to be made.
Yeah, these are things that are happening. But it is, in fact, Tuesday at 2 o'clock. We are Tilson Live. We are here on YouTube, on Facebook, answering all things building a custom home on your land. We are building a lot company. We're Tilson Homes. We've been doing this for 93 plus years-ish. And we want to hear from you. So drop into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We do want to hear from you. We have all kinds of things to talk about. We got stuff happening around the state. We got seminars going on. We got website stuff. We got things happening. This is we're about to go into, you folks don't know this or not, we're getting to the double-digit time of the year month-wise. That's it. That's where we are. It's going to be October tomorrow.
Tomorrow's know. That's insane.
Crazy. So drop your questions into the chat. We want to hear from you. First of all, tell us, though, where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We genuinely want to hear from you. We want to know anything you want to know about building on your land. It might be maybe site preparation, maybe site selection, maybe design center questions, maybe customization questions, maybe financing questions, maybe construction questions. But do jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. We love hearing from the folks that are in this process, doing this stuff with us. And actually, you're the best knowledge base we have out there. I mean, Dawn's really, really good. I'm okay, but the group is where the knowledge comes from. The people who have been there, done that, are going through the process. That's where the true gems of wisdom lie. So, Dawn, while we do that, tell us what we're going to be talking about today and some of the things that are going on. What are we talking about today?
Yeah. So we're doing Eric's favorite episode. I like to look at pretty houses. Eric likes to play Stump Eric and Dawn. So it is really a truly ask us anything. So we are here to answer any of your questions about any of those topics that Eric was talking about. We do prefer to keep it in the built on your lot realm. That is where our answers are the most reliable. We'll answer any questions, but we can't attest to how accurate our answers are going to be if you ask us about other things. But yeah, if you want to talk about design, you want to talk about land preparation, you want to talk about how to pay for this whole thing, we are here to answer all of those questions for you. And yeah, just here to do that. So super excited.
Without a doubt. So it is, in fact, ask us anything you want to know about the entire building a home on your land process, about how permitting works, about how septic design works, about how foundations are designed. How do we analyze the soil we're going to build the foundation on? Who gets the final say on that? How is it warranted? How do we build the home? How do you finance it, like Dawn said? How do you pick the colors? What are you limited to? What kind of changes can you make to the plan? Those are all things that we're prepared to answer today. I do have a burning. I have an issue at my little farm. I made a huge error, and so I will solicit the audience once they do jump into the chat and tell us what's going on. I spilled pond dye on my concrete, the patio of my barn, and it is potent and concentrated stuff, and it is not going away. It is not going away quietly into the night. So yeah, what equated to about maybe a cup and a half, truly, like maybe 10 ounces, maybe 12 of pond dye. Is looks like a Smurf and Smurfette murder scene on the patio. My barn. It's bad. So if anyone has any pointers on how to get pond dye out of concrete, I mean, it's everywhere. It's all over my gravel, the drive, everything. But rain will take care. Rain and time will take care of that. But the concrete that is covered, I've run water on it for, I don't know, like 3 hours, and yeah, afraid to pressure wash it because I'm going to spray it everywhere. It's going to get blue Smurf blood everywhere. I don't know how this is going to go. My son went to the mower to mow. He asked me if I had to shoot an alien. I said I cannot confirm nor deny. if I had to kill an alien. But yeah, so that's what's happening. I could use some pointers on getting rid of pond dye. I have been to Reddit, so I know what they're saying. And that's an option. But if anyone else out there has any,
I feel like your choice here is to pick another color that you like and see how well it goes with Smurf blue.
right? Exactly. Yes. It's some of it did in fact get into the pond, so it looks better than it did. And so because we've had very little rain, so the problem is the pond clears up, and then algae starts growing because the sun can get down there. So you dye it so that the sun can't get through. And good news, no sun will be getting through the pond.
Through the concrete. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you need to get comfortable with blue.
Well, the barn's blue, so why not?
Or we need like a dark gray that will, cover up the epoxy, maybe.
Maybe epoxy. Yeah, but I hope. Well, we're not capping it. It's a barn, so if we live with it, we'll live with it. But anyway, so folks, jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. We want to hear from you. Any questions about building on your land? Obviously, any questions about farm and ranch agriculture stuff? We may or may not be subject matter experts. Clearly, I'm not, because I've got stuff all over the place. It looks like a hot mess at my farm right now. So, but nonetheless, we want to sit here and talk, bring this community together, and make sure that you know everything you need to possibly know about building a custom home on your land. That's why we do the show. So jump in. We've answered tons and tons of people's questions. I see Denise. Here we go.
Yeah. Denise is saying, good afternoon from Pearland, building a Canyon D in Chapel Hill. No questions, just updates. The sheetrock is in and ready for tape and float, and the rock was delivered. It's gorgeous. I'm so ready for the real fall. Yes.
That's a fact. That's awesome. Cool update, Denise. Thanks so much for sharing. And yeah, we dipped into the 60s. Actually, I think there was one morning it was like 59. And
nice.
Big teas, big fat teas. And now it's, I think it's 93 right now. So, awesome.
Eventually, it'll come. Like you said, it's October tomorrow, so it's gotta be coming. All right, Alfredo is saying, good afternoon. My wife and I are looking to build using the VA construction loan. Is that something you guys do?
Actually, we do, Alfredo. So we do offer a VA construction loan, a one-time close VA construction loan. It's done through our lending partner, Wagon Hill Home Loans. So you can reach out over there to Matt Howe and his team, and they'd be glad to answer any of those questions. But you can do a VA construction loan, which is one way to do it. You actually can also even do a VA permanent loan if you have enough equity in the property where you wouldn't have to do a construction loan, so just do the loan at the end. Either way, we can do it to the VA guidelines, get a VA appraisal, and close on that VA loan and get you guys taken care of. But yeah, we absolutely do VA construction loans. We actually also do FHA construction loans, and we also do conventional construction loans if you want to do that. It's definitely the minority of what we do. You don't have to have a construction loan in Tilson necessarily, but VA is one of those instances where it can make sense, especially if you have little to no equity in the property. The Veterans Administration qualifies you for 100% financing, so you can truly finance all of it. But a lot of customers, if you own the land already, you have some equity in it. You may not have it completely paid for, but you have some equity in it anyway. But Matt Howe and the team at Wagon Hill will be glad to walk you through what the best solution for that is. So yeah. Absolutely.
Alfredo is in the San Antonio area, so you're going to be closest to our Bernie office. So yeah, any of those design consultants can also help you out with that if you want to head up there and talk to them, look at our houses. Curious if you already have your property. Like Eric was talking about, you may already have equity in that that we can work with. But yeah, we can absolutely do the construction loan if that's the route you want to go.
Yeah, and that's definitely the highest concentrated area we see when we're doing any kind of VA financing, really at all, is San Antonio. Others in Waco, because you're close to Fort Hood up there, but yeah, San Antonio definitely between the Randolph Brooks Air Force Base and Fort Sam Houston that's down there, and so there's a lot of veteran benefits down there, a lot of hospitals, great hospitals that are centered around veterans to take care of our folks that have been serving us. So yeah, we'd be glad to help out.
All right. Let's see. We've got Connie. I think her comment got cut off, so they keep typing. But they have land in White Bluff and Whitney, Texas, and I guess they're having their first meeting soon. So that's exciting.
Oh yeah, Connie, tell us where you're going. Are you going to Waco? Are you going to Weatherford? Are you going to Waxahachie? All of those W's are kind of all around you in Whitney. Didn't do that on purpose. Just the way they name the towns. We had nothing to do with that. But yeah, Whitney's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Place.
Then we got Misty saying hi from Hood County, enjoying our San Jacinto XL.
Hello,
Awesome.
Miss Misty. How are you?
Thanks for checking in again.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on there. So yeah, folks, do ask your questions. Jump into the chat, where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in, and then any and all questions you want to ask us about the process. What comes next? Maybe you're just about thinking about doing this, but haven't really made a decision. I don't have land yet, but we're thinking about doing this. Looks like that's what Alfredo's doing. Or
Yeah.
maybe you already do have your property and you're going to, so perfect. Yeah, West San Antonio. Bernie is a great spot. That's how you get.
Bernie's a great spot. That team can help you out. Find some property there. And yeah, in that case, if you don't already have the property, a VA loan is going to probably be your best bet to do the VA construction loan. So that's great. They can help you find. We do lots of building in that area, so they can definitely help you find a good spot.
But yeah, regardless where you are in the process, maybe you're just thinking about doing this. Maybe you have family land. Maybe you know somebody who just did this process or bought land. Maybe you've seen land for sale and you're like, I can probably do that. Like, ask us these questions. Like, we'll talk about floodplain. We talk about title policies. We can talk about deed restrictions. Some questions to ask your realtor or the listing agent. What's going on there? We want to. There's no bad questions, no dumb questions, except the ones you don't ask. So
absolutely.
We want to make sure that you have the most amount of information as possible to get you and your family where you want to be. That's why we're here.
All right. And we've got Lindsay joining us. She is from and building in Galveston County, seeing some progress, and we're super excited. Awesome.
Oh,
what's
very
happening
nice.
out there, Lindsay?
Yeah, tell us what's going on, what part of the process you're in, and where in Galveston County. Are we Dickinson? Are we League City? Are we, where are we? Texas City? What else? Where else can I name drop? There's plenty of others. Bay Cliff. I think Bay Cliff's Galveston County. The island. I don't think we're building the island right now. We will build on the island.
Yeah.
Behind the seawall. Building behind the seawall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so all right, folks, lots of things to know, lots of things to think about when building on your land. Obviously, the first and foremost is kind of where. So, Dawn, when we talk about whether it's urban, suburban, rural land, what difference does that make, and like how does that affect property value? Like, how does that work, and how does Tilson cope with that?
So, I mean, the closer in that you are to a city, the more restrictions we're generally going to be dealing with. Just the more organizations that get involved. So, the closer you are to a city, the more people are going to want to have a say in exactly what you're doing, and that's absolutely something that we can navigate through with you. But it might be a little bit of a longer process if you're in those incorporated areas. Out in the unincorporated areas, there tend to be a little bit less restrictions, a little less people who have opinions and get you to do things. But regardless of what it is, it's something we can help you navigate through. Property values are gonna, just depend upon where you're looking to build. Land in the city is gonna generally be more expensive just because there's less of it most of the time. But it's really up to you what you want to do. Like Eric was talking about, if you are looking at the property, you're going to want to make sure that you know who has jurisdiction and what kind of restrictions you're going to see on it prior to building. Because if you're in, even if you're out in the unincorporated areas, if you're in a master plan community, that community is going to have a lot of say in what size of a home you're going to build, what kind of materials you're going to be able to use, how far back you're going to have to be from your neighbors and from the street and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really just a matter of, where you want to be and kind of prioritizing, how much say you want to make sure that you have in it, what you're willing to sacrifice to be in that area.
Good call. Yeah, there's always, I was trying to think, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about the closer you are into a city, the more help you're going to get in the designing.
Yes, the more assistance you're going to get in what kind of trees you can take down, where you can build, what you can build, how many people want to look at it before you're done, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, more help.
It's a good way to phrase it. And Lindsay is sharing she got her form boards up last week.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Exciting. Awesome. All right. And then Denise is sharing, we received an email on 8/15 from Wagon Hill One Trust with an adverse action notice that our application's been denied. I did call and was told it had to do with the new company that was started and not to worry. I used to get weekly updates, but now I've not received any communication since that date.
All right. Well, I'm glad thank you for asking that, Denise. And yeah, so let me try and clear this up. But yeah, we definitely get more communication. I'm doing I'm stalling while I take a screenshot in this, so I can pass the feedback along. Not necessarily the picture itself, but the exact. So Denise, what we had when we first started with Wagon Hill was basically just a partnership. And that's simply because as you might expect, the federal government has a lot of, we were talking about help you get from the cities.
Talking about help and opinions.
The federal government has a long and arduous process to form a mortgage company. In essence, when you're creating a joint venture, even with a company that is an existing mortgage company, we wanted to be able to maintain control for our customers' benefit and for their experience. We had to form a new company. So the new company is called Wagon Hill Home Loans, but which the LLC was created almost immediately, but you don't get your authorization to start underwriting loans as that joint venture until FHA has approved you and USDA has approved you, and the forgetting who oversees. I should know because I signed yet another document yesterday, literally, for the application process. But it's a very long and arduous process with the government. And so what happened was we got approved, which is wonderful. Except now, what's going to have to happen for not just you but anyone else that's in process is you're going to receive notice, basically like, hey, your loan is being transferred to Wagon Hill Home Loans LLC, and you're going to be like, I thought I was already with Wagon Hill Home Loans. And the answer is yes, you were.
Yes, you were.
Now the joint venture has not only just been consummated, but now all the federal approvals are in place. And so we can officially underwrite and close loans under the name, as opposed to we were kind of brokering them with OneTrust Home Loans, who's the other joint venture partner with us. So it's just the two entities, OneTrust Home Loans and Tilson Homes, and we formed Wagon Hill Home Loans. Which is, by the way, named after my granddad's favorite place on earth. There was a little place on his ranch called Wagon Hill. And so that's where the name came from. It's nothing cryptic, nothing secret. Like it's Jack Tilson Allered's little happy spot. So
it was where those trees were at the top of the hill, which is where the logo comes from.
So. Exactly. So all that to say, I'm sorry I got the adverse action notice. But that was probably because it was being done under the old name. And now the federal government, the governing entities, whoever they are, have the new name, the LLC name, and all loans are. So everybody's going to have to basically sign authorization. Is what you'll all receive, is some type of authorization, probably via DocuSign, that says, "Hey, we're totally fine with moving our loan from the Wagon Hill OneTrust partnership to Wagon Hill Home Loans LLC." It's the same entity. It's the same people.
Yeah, same people.
Yeah. It was just we couldn't underwrite loans under that name until we got approved by all the various and sundry agencies, and they are plentiful. But they might shut down tonight. Who knows? I don't know. That's only there won't. Like they never do. So who cares? Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
All pomp and circumstance. If only they could shut down. If they do choose an agency to shut down, Dawn and I are flying tomorrow. So if you want to shut down TSA, that'd be wonderful. If just plug, shameless plug. If you're going to shut down an agency, let's start with that one. That would be awesome. All the others are fine, whatever. But TSA, you can take a break tomorrow. Have a seat.
But Denise, I'm sorry. I know that those were some very scary sounding words. That's the way they ask.
I'll get Matt Howe and his team to reach out. We're going to make sure that you get the information that you need and are communicated with on a more frequent basis. So.
And also, if it doesn't shut down, I love TSA. Please don't put me on any list. Leave me with my pre-check. Thank you.
Well played.
Yep. And Connie is saying that they're having their first meeting in Waxahachie next month.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Very nice.
A great team up there.
Yeah, you'll love it.
And then we got Taisha. Hello from Victoria. Loving the Marion. Awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming back, by the way.
Thanks for visiting with us.
Super cool. Yeah, so great question. So in talking about the financing thing, so let's talk a little bit, since we're on the subject, let's talk a little bit about EasyBuy. So, what is EasyBuy? How does it differ from the way most custom homes are built? And then what if I do want to do a construction loan? How does that work, Dawn? Tell me about EasyBuy.
All right. So EasyBuy is the way that the vast majority, probably 98% of our homes are financed if they're not cash. So that's program that's exclusive to Tilson. And it is very different from the typical way that you would build a custom home on your land. It's much more similar to if you've ever built from a like production builder. So like a DR Horton or, Perry Home, something like that, where you're buying the land and the home at the same time. In that we're not going to ask you to like do any payments or anything during construction. So there is no construction loan with EasyBuy, which is very unusual. Most builders are going to require you to have that construction loan, and either you're going to be making payments throughout construction or you're going to have interest accruing throughout construction that's going to be added to the mortgage at the end. Tilson doesn't do that in most cases, and even if we did do a construction loan with you, we're not doing interest. We still do it like EasyBuy, in that we're not taking any payments from that construction loan throughout construction, just like we're not asking you to pay us anything while we're doing the construction on your home. So with EasyBuy, what we're looking for is for you to have 10% equity in the final value of your home, and so that's going to be the house that you're building plus the land. So we're looking for 10% of that value. And as long as you have that, we're going to go ahead and you've secured final mortgage. You've got approval from a final mortgage lender. We're going to go ahead and build that home. We're just going to take your $3,000 deposit. We're going to build that home entirely using Tilson's money. And you're going to pay us at the end. And that's how EasyBuy is. So there's no interest accruing throughout construction. There's no payments that you're making to us during construction. The only payments that you would be making is if you still owed money on your land. You would continue to make those payments until we finish building your home. And then that land lien is going to be rolled into your final mortgage. So that's how EasyBuy works. Now, we do have some people who may not have the 10% equity, like our friend Alfredo, who hasn't found his land yet. So either they need to go ahead and secure that construction loan funding up front so that they can pay for the land at the same time. Or any other situation that they may not have 10%. If you've got 3%, maybe you qualify for an FHA. There are lots of situations in which it might be better for you to do a construction loan just because it'll get you into your home faster. In those cases, we're going to go through the construction loan steps, get you approved, and you're going to go ahead and have your construction loan, but we're not going to take any draws. So what that means is there'll be no interest accruing on your construction loan from anything that Tilson has done. Now, if we do need to pay off the land at the beginning, there will be interest accruing on the land loan amount, but not anything from construction. So that's kind of how we differ from other builders as far as construction financing goes.
Beautifully done. It's like you've done that before.
You just like to put me on the spot and see if I can do it.
It says ask us anything.
You did. You followed the assignment.
I did for once.
Yeah.
Usually my jam. But all right, yeah. So obviously the finance is a big part of it. We want to know all about that. Keep dropping your questions into the chat. We want to hear from you. Anything you want to know about site preparation. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Anything about construction itself, why we do what we do. Why we use spray foam, how we arrive at what size AC you're getting, all those kinds of things that, it's a lot of thought goes into your home, a lot of planning. Questions about design center selections, questions about customization of plans. One I like to talk about is always, the pricing methodology. What about price per square foot? Price per square foot. So we get that question a lot. What's your price per foot? What's your price per foot? Very, very dangerous and misleading way to price out something as highly complicated as a home. It's right up there with asking how much a cheeseburger costs per ounce or how much a Chevrolet costs per pound. Those are things that sound preposterous when you say them, but for whatever reason, we take this other thing that's infinitely more complicated. We ask how much it costs per square foot. So I don't recommend shopping that way. As Don infamously always says, what square footage are they using for one?
Yeah.
Is it total slab area? Is it heated, cool living area? Does it include the garages, the porches, not include them? It can be very misleading the way they do it. The other way to do it is cost plus. Cost plus is another way that custom builders price out homes. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing unethical about it, as long as you understand what you're getting into. You're doing... you and the builder agree on basically his or her profit margin number, or gross margin at least. You decide, okay, I'm going to build you whatever we're going to build you, and I'm going to charge you plus whatever X percentage. So anything that my costs are, I'm going to add X percent to it, and that's going to be what you pay. And that's how a lot of really super high end custom homes are done. We don't do it that way. And if you don't do this a lot or haven't done this many times, I highly recommend against pricing a house out that way, because costs can add up pretty quick, especially if
Mm-hmm.
the builder doesn't have any real incentive to control the cost.
Keep them down. Yeah.
You're paying the delta regardless of what it costs. So what Tilson does is the upfront desktop pricing methodology, where before you ever really sign a contract with us, but certainly before you ever start construction, exactly what every single little detail is going to cost you. So that's what countertop, what cabinet, what stain on the cabinet, what plumbing fixture,
Mm-hmm.
what light fixtures, what paint color, what floor coverings, ceiling heights, elevation, exterior facade. Is it brick? Is it stone? Is it stucco? Is it hardy? Is it board and bat? Those are all things that you will know not only what they are, but the pricing on all of it before we ever start construction. So we prefer that. It does a much more seamless process. It's way less stressful to the homeowner, and we just feel it's a lot more transparent, and when everybody knows what's going to end up sitting out there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. We've got Joe asking, does Wagon Hill via the EasyBuy option roll the land loan into the single mortgage as part of the contracting process? Sounds like you've said yes, just confirming.
So we do, but Joe, it's at the very end. So
Mhm.
yes, let's say that you bought your property for $150,000 10 years ago, and you owe $80,000 on it right now. You would continue to make that monthly payment that you've been making for the 10 years, however long you've had it,
Mhm.
and then upon completion, like basically when we get 60 days out, they'll send one, and then also when we get like a couple days out from closing, they'll send the lender, or the mortgage company will send a payoff request to whoever the lien holder, the lender on the land is. So they'll say, hey, what's the payoff going to be on Tuesday, September the 30th? And that number's set in stone. They already know it's going to be. They know it's going to be 10 years from now, 15
Mhm.
years from now, 25, 29, 29, and 11 months from now. They know exactly what your payoff is going to be. And so they will send that dollar amount to the lender or to the title company, both. And the lender will pay off Tilson's contract amount, whatever our contract amount was, plus whatever that land loan balance is for that particular day. Those will get paid at one time. And then those two numbers, let's say the Tilson home was $450,000 and you owed 80, I think I said, on the land. So your loan would be for $530,000. 450 for the house, 80 for the land balance, and you would just have
Mhm.
one payment on the total 530. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. What else, Dawn? What else is happening? What other questions do people? What other questions are burning in people's minds?
I don't know. Let's see. We usually get asked a lot about how much people can change our plans.
Oh,
So I
none.
think we
You
want.
must take them as they are.
Not at all. Not at all. We
Said-
actually are very shocked if you take them as they
yeah,
are.
something's wrong.
We call that a unicorn. We get very excited about it. But yeah, I mean, you can make whatever changes you like. I've always liked Holly's rules. That she our one of our former managers from San Marcos. We've been with Tilson for a very long time. There are 3 rules about what you can do with your plan. So you've got to meet the laws of your budget, the laws of physics, and building code, and pretty much we can do whatever other changes you'd like to see to our plan. We always are taking things and moving walls. If you like one kitchen, putting it in a different home is not out of the realm of possibility. We have, everybody has their favorite bathroom, master bath, and try to fit that into all of our different plans. But we can really make, whatever changes you're looking at. The list of things that we won't do is very short, and it's constantly getting shorter. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in doing something, just ask us. If you've got plans that you've seen online that you like, bring them in as inspiration and let us, work with you to draw something up.
Great advice, actually. Great advice. Yeah, and then piggyback on that and looking at plans, making sure you don't get too down in the weeds on the exterior. I know that sounds silly because it's the kind of the pretty part of the house, but excuse me, the dismissing plan designs based on what the elevation looks like.
Right.
That's a common mistake that you don't really have to make. In most cases, the exterior of the home is the easiest part to change. So I usually tell people, kind of start with the floor plans only. Like we'll make the outside look like whatever you like. Obviously, pick 1 or 2 or 3 that you really like your style or your vibe that you think you want the outside to look like. Keep those stacked over here to the side, but then focus on floor plans. Focus on a floor plan that's functional for you and your family, what you're going to be using the home for, and then say, I kind of like this exterior style. Can that work? How would that work on this particular plan? And that way you're not picking a design on an exterior and then trying to make the interior suit your needs, because that's where you're going to be spending 95% of your time
Right.
on the inside. So you want that to be functional for you and your family. You want that to work, but yeah, it's hard to do because outside's pretty, but
yes,
it's really important that
there's a reason we start with the outside of the house.
That's right, exactly.
The house.
But it's important that you find the floor plan to be functional, and then we'll work with the design. So don't get too caught up in that.
Yep, it's very easy to change materials out if you want stone or you want brick or you don't want stone or brick. It's very easy for us to make those swaps.
For sure.
And get you exactly the layout that the look that you're seeking.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we have what else is going on? We have a couple of we have seminars coming up this weekend. Do we have?
We do. We have 3 seminars coming up. We have 3 locations that are doing construction seminars. So our Waxahachie office, our San Marcos office, and our Spring office are all going through the construction process. So if you're curious about how your Tilson home is actually built and what materials we use and why, more importantly, why we choose them. That's one thing I would advise when you're talking to a builder and they're saying, I'm using such and such system. Ask them why. Like they should have a reason, because there's many different ways to build a home. So ask why they're using what they're using, and see if they can give you the explanation. But you get to, in all 3 of those offices, we're going to have either one of our builders or a regional construction manager out there. So it's a great time to ask, the actual experts, all of your questions and talk to them about the full process. So they're going to be talking about from site clearing to final walkthrough. They can tell you how we do everything that we do and why we do it that way. So those are great opportunity to come out and learn some more.
Because there are some things that we do very different from like a production subdivision standpoint, or even other on your lot builders, and we do always have a why we do a certain way, or sometimes a why not, why we won't do things a certain way.
Right.
And we are open to change, suggestions, and feedback. But I think Justin Ordno, one of our other ET members, been on the show a lot. He's got a pretty famous phrase: is no is nothing without why, and yes is nothing without how. So if we tell you no to something by some miracle, we should be able to give you some kind of a why behind that. Here's what we're concerned about. Here's why this concerns us. This material, this method, this whatever. And then, but equally yoked to that is if we tell you yes, we're going to do something, or any other builder tells you yes, they can do something. The next question you should ask is, okay, how are we going to accomplish this? How are we going to knock this out? Because usually acquiring the thing, whatever the widget is that you're wanting, that's the easy part. It's getting it procured and out to the job site in the middle of nowhere, and then getting a trade that is familiar enough to sneeze. Okay.
Yeah, we can order anything. Right. It's whether you have people who are qualified to install it and, much more importantly, maintain it. That you really need to be concerned about.
Yeah, great advice. So very cool stuff. Yeah. All right. So folks, drop into the chat where you're watching from, where you're building, part of the process here, and any other questions. We'll do another call for questions of Ask Us Anything. Seminars are a great opportunity. The seminars to meet and greet other Tilson people. So other folks that are going through this journey with you. Some of them are they're at varying stages of the journey, just like you are here on this show. So it's a great spot to kind of sync up with like-minded people, bounce ideas off of them, ask them what they're doing, where they're building, why they're doing what they're doing, kind of what led them to the decisions that they made. And I found that some of the most magical interactions that are the most beneficial to some of our customers is just talking to the other people going through the process and kind of okay, well, you did that. I'm thinking about that. We can think about this. And here's why we're built over here. And here's what kind of, zero turn we have. And here's what kind of little garden tractor we have. And here's what kind of whatever, all the toys. Here's why we don't use Bondi that's already open. All kinds of things that you want to be careful about. So We want to be sure that you have all the information you need, and that's what we do the seminars for. Get you in that, get you out there, meet and greet, and again, like Don said, with the actual either superintendents or construction managers that are Tilson's boots on the ground. So these are
Mhm.
the hands that will be making sure that the trades are doing the things. They're the project managers. They're releasing the brick. They're calling the concrete company. They're calling the framer. They're inspecting the frame. They're inspecting the electricians. They're out there scheduling everything. They're making sure that your land's being treated respectfully, garbage getting cleaned up, that the job site, remains a job site for as absolute short amount of time as possible. So
That is the goal.
there is a phase. That might be something to talk about, Dawn. Is kind of what should someone expect during construction? Let's talk about how long. About how long should they expect to be in construction, and then what kind of things could they expect to see? They roll up in their construction site on a Saturday with their family. How long, and what should they expect to see?
Goodness. I'm gonna have to defer to you on the how long. I'm not sure
I
where
think
we
we're
are right now.
right
I
at
think we're
225. We're right at 220,
yeah,
225
225 days.
of construction.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing when you are talking about builders, make sure when they're giving you the timeline, are they giving you just the amount it's going to take or
Mm,
the upfront process? Because before we get to construction, we've got to do everything to get ready for doing your home. So that's another, probably 90 to 120 days
yep.
on that timeline. So you're going to want to be specific about that. And when you're rolling up, I mean, it's an active job site, probably not as active on a Saturday. They don't tend to do as much work then, but you are going to see, people working. So you're going to see, and you're going to see, be ready. You're going to see, guys, you're going to see mistakes. And that's okay. Like these are human beings that
Yeah.
are building this, with their hands. That's what our superintendents are there for, is to spot those things as well. So there's always going to be somebody coming back and checking after all of the work, making sure that everything's being done right. So that framing is going to be, checked with levels and made right. Make sure everything's squared off and proper. But do be aware that there are going to be some mistakes. Because this is the one purchase that you're going to make that you're going to see, other than a Subway sandwich, that you're going to see being made right in front of your eyes. So there are some things that are going to happen along the way. Just if you're concerned about anything, reach out to your builder.
For sure.
But yeah, you're going to see a lot of stuff. So the first thing you're going to see is what someone was celebrating with their form boards arriving. So that's how we're getting everything ready and kind of putting out where your foundation is going to be. So we're going to be filling that in with dirt so we can get your plumbing all put in, and do all of that to get all of your stuff ready for your foundation. So you've got the post tension cables going in there, doing all of that kind of stuff. You've got your plastic sheathing that's going down to protect your foundation from the water that's in the soil.
There's
Make sure
water in the dirt.
there's water in the dirt, guys. So yeah, we need to protect it from that. And then, you're going to see lots of things you've never seen before. You're also going to see periods of time where it looks like nothing's happening, generally because we're waiting for an inspection. Or we also, our builders do purposely schedule our trades so that there's a few days in between each crew, so that we don't have people working on top of each other and we don't end up with he made that mess. No, he made that mess going on. So you will see some periods of time like that. And there's going to be periods of time where it seems like everything's going really, really fast, and then it's going to seem like it's going really, really slow. But these are all just normal stuff that happens. So
Yeah.
anything I leave out?
No, I think you got it all. Like that, it's something to. In fact, you did an amazing job. Who gave the detail of the order of the foundation? That's awesome. Don't put me on the spot. So I try to remind people that this is one of the, like Don said a few times, we're working in a really weird spot when you're building a house.
Mhm.
You're working with natural materials. Okay, so it's wood, it's rock. Like these are things that aren't by design. Whoever's design you believe in, they're not geometrically perfect things,
Right.
Like that's why they're beautiful, because they're unique. They're one of a kind. So your granite is one of a kind. Your stone's one of a kind. The wood that is milled to make the lumber to frame your house is one of a kind. So you work with natural materials with human hands. We know we're imperfect, okay? Like we make mistakes, and you're the trifecta of all this is you're in an uncontrolled environment. You're outside.
Right.
This is not being done in a factory. This is not being done in a warehouse. So you got natural materials, human hands, and an uncontrolled environment. Stuff's going to happen. And that's okay. That's why we have the building superintendents to manage these jobs, to manage the trades, to get things back on course, to correct things. That's why there's building inspectors. That's why all this stuff is happening. There you go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, read what she said.
Yeah, so Denise is saying mistakes, lots of laughs. We see them before I can text Greg, he's already letting me know about them. He's been awesome. So that's great to hear.
Thanks Denise for sharing that. Because it is true. Like they're going out there, they're checking, and the reverse could happen though, right, Don? Like you could get out there on a Saturday, see something that happened, and know before your builder. Doesn't mean they weren't paying attention, just mean they hadn't gotten there yet. But my philosophy with our customers is if you see something, say something. Hey, if you got a question about something, you don't think it's right, nope, shoot a picture of it, text it to your builder, text it to your sales consultant, say, hi, this is not what I expected, and we're going to respond. Like, and hey, good thing. I'm glad you caught that. Like, we probably caught it next Tuesday or whenever I was out there, but thanks for letting me know. I'll look at it when I'm out there next, and then we'll have a plan of attack, and I'll circle back up with you, and we'll get it taken care of. But don't ever hesitate to say something. You're not going to look foolish. You're not going to sound silly. If you see something, say something. You're not going to hurt our feelings. Like, just ask.
Yeah, ask us questions. Like you're spending a lot of money on this home. We know that. We value that we're creating this space that your family is going to live in. We want you to be comfortable. So if you're seeing something that you're like, this doesn't seem right, ask the question. We'll be happy to explain to you what's going on. And if it is something that's wrong, we're going to make sure that we fix it. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that there is going to be imperfections as the process is going on, and we're going to work as hard as we can to get those fixed.
Something to think about when you're starting the process with a builder is ask that very question. Hey, what happens when something doesn't go as planned? And if they say something like, "Oh, well, we execute the plan," you're like, really? Like, you've never made a mistake? Like,
there's a lot of people involved.
That's crazy because I hear, but ask that question. Like, what are the channels of communication? Who do I talk to? What should my expectation be on like a time frame for the remedy? Those are all fair questions to ask when you're interviewing your builders. There's nothing wrong with that. They should have a plan for when things go wrong, because things will go wrong.
Things will go wrong. Yeah.
That's how it goes. And that's okay. Alfredo had a question. Yeah.
Yeah. Alfredo's asking, are appliances something that we can choose?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we have a couple of lines that we use very frequently. We use Frigidaire quite a bit. But we have access to get appliances outside of the Frigidaire line with no Frigidaire, Electrolux. That is our primary that we use on most of our homes, but we've done pretty well every brand that's out there for somebody somewhere. So we have access to all those. But yeah, great question, Alfredo, of course.
Yeah.
So what we'll do here, I'll do a last call for questions, unless you had something else you wanted to share.
No, I mean, while we're doing the last call for questions, we can share a couple other things that are happening around the state.
They shut us down. They hacked in, and
TSA hasn't pulled my pre-check yet.
So we'll do last call for questions, folks. Jump into the chat if you have a question about design, about financing, about site preparation, about construction, energy efficiency, any of those things that we do. Ask them now. We'll answer every one of them. And then Dawn, take it away. What else you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody probably already knows about our newest models, the Brazoria, which we celebrated that grand opening I guess it's technically this month, but almost last month.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Cisco up in Weatherford that is finished. We'll be having that grand opening on November 15th. If you guys want to save the date for that, we're giving its next door neighbor a little bit of a facelift prior to doing that grand opening. So we're going to be doing some work on the Breckenridge up in Weatherford, just do a little bit of facelift, switching out some countertops and some tile in there, and doing some redecorating in that. We also, if you guys haven't been out to Georgetown recently, we did kind of the same treatment on the San Gabriel. So that one's got a little bit of a facelift, changed out some flooring, and that one added in some beams. So if you haven't seen the San Gabriel in a while, it would be good to go and check that one out.
Yeah.
And then we've got some super secret future plans for other models and stuff that are coming. I don't know if we want to talk about that yet.
I'm intrigued. There's not much to talk about yet. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about yet. We got a lot of plans.
They're secret to us to some degree, by the way.
We know things are coming. We're just not sure what.
Yeah.
And then we've got Shaylee asking, can we use regular insulation instead of spray foam?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to. It does depend on where you're building. I mean, not whether we can or not, what all we'll have to do besides just regular installation. So,
Mhm.
if you're in climate zone 2, which is kind of closer to the coast, it's a little bit easier to still meet the air change per hour that the energy code requires. Climate zone 3, where you get a little bit more north and to the west of that, if you're in one of those areas, kind of your, Bernie, and then, Alvin. Yeah.
She's
So,
an Alvin.
um, that's good. It's pretty simple to do that. We're probably still going to use a dehumidifier these days to do that. But yeah, I think we have pricing to do that in the price book. At least we used to. If not, we can certainly get a
Mhm.
price to do that. I would be curious as to why, in the spirit of today's live,
Yeah.
asking why the opposition to spray foam. But yes, we can absolutely. We did bat and blown insulation for decades and decades and decades, especially in around the Alvin area. But
Mhm.
we do still have to make sure we meet the ACH code. I think right now it's still 5 air change per hour in climate zone 2. So as long as we can meet that, we'll do it. But yeah, there are some disadvantages to doing that as opposed to spray foam. But um, I'd still. I mean, my personal home is done with spray foam. I would encourage you to use spray foam. It's going to be more energy efficient long term. But I understand that people some have opposition to it, and that's how they
Mhm.
feel. And no problem. Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
blown and bat installation. We can do bibs. There are some options out there to do the installation that doesn't have to be spray foam.
Okay. And she says another tough question. Mold is a sensitive topic. I know it's hard to keep mold off framing and OSB plywood. Can we replace any wood before closing in if it's moldy?
Okay, so a great question. And I think mold's a sensitive topic because the media's made it that way. Certainly,
Mhm.
insurance agencies and litigious attorneys have made it that way. There are very, very, very few molds that can actually do harm to you. Very few, apart from ingesting them. But we're scared of what we can't see, right? So, so the answer to the question is you can replace it if we can replace it if something gets just horribly bad enough. The odds of it sitting there that long for to be able to do that are super, super, super low, Shally. So, and what we would prefer to do, and what we did on my personal home, and I've done on other houses, is if it's bad and it just sits there for some reason, you spray it with bleach, or there's also some mold killing chemicals you can spray
Mhm.
it with that stops the mold from growing. But the reality is, mold can't grow once you starve it of moisture. So even if it had mold on there, once you cover it up, if it's not continuing to get a source of moisture, it can't keep growing.
Okay.
That's all there is to it. Most molds you have issues with in a house are because it's been an ongoing, long, underlying issue of
Yeah.
some
There's some type
source,
of leak
source of
or
moisture. Exactly.
yeah.
The moment we deck it, put the shingles on it, that whatever colors or splotches that are on there will remain there in those places basically forever. But if it makes you feel better, yes, we can absolutely spray it down with a mold killing chemical or bleach. 50-50 water and bleach mix is perfectly fine. It'll do it. And then the big key is just starving it of moisture.
Mhm.
But if something is just like I can't sleep at night because of the way this looks, as long as we're not talking about, 3 sides of the house, we can replace it. A board here and there, a piece of OSB here and there. That's not going to be a problem. But it doesn't happen a whole lot. Right now it doesn't rain, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
It hadn't rained in 3 weeks. Doesn't feel like so. But yeah, I wouldn't go through and just replace every piece of material. Part of the issue with replacing things like that, especially if they're cut to fit, and once you have the OSB on them, it's kind of like doing a remodel. Like the cut piece to replace it with may not be cut as tight. It probably won't be because you have to get the other one out, get the new one in. So I'd really prefer to just treat the piece that's there, test it if we need to. I mean, there's mold test kits that you can buy at big box stores. They're not hard to
Mhm.
come by. I'm sure the online worlds have them as well. But there's really very, very, very few, regardless of what we may see or hear or read on the internet, very few instances of mold being this super dangerous thing. And again, if you can figure out how to stop the source of moisture, you fixed it.
Yeah.
And there's really no point in treating it until you have solved the moisture source, if that makes sense. It's just like an
Yeah.
illness
Because it's
or
just gonna come back. Yeah.
anything else. So
Okay. That makes
great
sense.
question. Great question.
Yeah. Thanks, Shelly.
All right, Shelly. All right. Well, what a great one to round it down with. So obviously, folks, the journey doesn't have to end here. We have lots of mediums we can converse with you on. We have Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got a YouTube channel with tons and tons of content just like this on there. We have a website open 24/7 with new home specialists on standby to answer your high-level questions, set appointments. We got 12 design centers with model homes open 7 days a week. We'd love to have you out there. Like Don mentioned, we have seminars happening this weekend. So we'd love to see you come out there, have a cup of coffee, bottle of water with us, and answer any questions you may have. Get those design changes done. We've got Wagon Hill Home Loans. We've got Matt Howe and his team that will answer any questions that you have about the financing side, like how do we piece this whole thing together and get it paid for. That's a really important aspect. But just genuinely love hearing from you guys. Grateful that you joined us today. Hope it's been very informative, and genuinely soon hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see y'all later.
Bye, everybody.